It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV. 5 topics in about 10 minutes for Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. I'm Derek Gilbert. Topic number 5 today, Israel. Israel paused operations in the southern Gaza Strip city of Rafah for a bit, or at least one of the neighborhoods in Rafah, on Sunday to allow for humanitarian aid to be delivered. That pause lasted 4 hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. On the previous day, Saturday, 4 gas tankers carrying cooking gas entered Gaza to keep the 15 bakeries that are still operating, which is an increase over a couple of weeks prior, by the way, operating, providing bread for the civilians who are sheltering from the ongoing conflict. Israel's attack into Rafah against the 4 Hamas battalions believed to be there ramped up into a full-scale assault over the weekend, Sunday night into Monday morning. That's already resulted in the recovery of 2 Israeli captives, 2 Israeli hostages being held, still more than 130 unaccounted for. American officials, meanwhile, reportedly furious at Israel's finance minister Bezalel Smotrich, who's blocked flour aid from being delivered to UNRWA. That's the UN Relief Works Agency. Again, this is the agency, as we told you, that Israeli intelligence estimates has about 10% of its 13,000 employees. In other words, 1,300 employees of the United Nations directly linked to Hamas and or Palestinian Islamic Jihad. COGAT, which is Israel's Coordinator of Government Activities in the Territories, that's an office inside the Ministry of Defense responsible for coordinating activities in the territories controlled by the Palestinian Arabs, attempting to get around Smotrich by delivering the flour instead to the UN World Food Program, which is not accused of being complicit with Hamas in the October 7th attacks. Then there's this. Egypt's foreign minister has pushed back against reports that the country's peace treaty with Israel would be at risk if Israel invaded Rafah. This was reported over the weekend by the Associated Press, as we told you earlier this week. AP quoted 2 Egyptian officials and a Western diplomat saying the peace treaty signed in 1979 could be in jeopardy. But on Monday, Egypt's foreign minister Sameh Shoukry denied the AP report, said that Egypt would uphold its peace accord with Israel. Now, in the north, interesting report, Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah has asked Lebanese civilians in the south of the country to get rid of their cell phones, at least for the time being, and turn off CCTV cameras that are connected to the internet. Why? Because Israel is getting valuable intelligence on Hezbollah activities from their phones and internet-connected doorbell cameras, what have you. This is an admission that you don't need collaborators to let the IDF know, or Shin Bet or the Mossad know what you're doing. If it's connected to the internet, Israel is probably watching it. Topic number 4, the border deal, or rather no deal. The Senate early Tuesday passed a $95 billion package of aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. So they tied aid to Israel to aid to Ukraine and Taiwan. This pushed ahead after months of negotiations. The vote came after a small group of Republicans opposed to the $60 billion in additional aid for Ukraine filibustered through the night, but 22 Republicans voted with all the Democrats to push the package through, 70 to 29. Supporters argued that abandoning Ukraine could embolden Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Let's throw more money into that frankly lost cause, because we can't admit defeat because Putin is bad. I'm not carrying water for Vladimir Putin, just looking at the reality on the ground there. Ukraine has no path to victory, and anyone who's honest in his assessment will admit that. Anyway, this money, I think not coincidentally, in the report, about 8 or 9 paragraphs down, is this line, quote, "Dollars provided by the legislation would purchase U.S.-made defense equipment," end quote. It's basically a wealth transfer. We're going to borrow more money, print more money, and then give it directly to the military-industrial complex. Well, House Speaker Mike Johnson is basically saying this package is dead on arrival. It could be weeks, months, or never before this bill makes it through the House and to the desk of President Biden. Contrary to earlier versions of this bill in the Senate, by the way, there is nothing in there for border security. We're going to spend $90 billion, $60 billion of it to Ukraine, and not a penny to secure our southern border, which leads to topic number 3, Biden's border bungle. Very interesting. This is the graphic on an exclusive report in Axios which is reporting that the Biden administration has so mishandled border security that the president is now embracing policies he ran against in 2020, like restricting asylum laws, suggesting he'll shut down the border, and this crisis is now threatening his chances of being reelected. That is, of course, if he even makes it to November on the ballot. Now, Axios is a left liberal media outlet, and it makes a point of saying that much of this crisis was inherited. The fact that Biden has little control over global calamities that are driving people to try to come to the United States. And of course, there was the state of the government that Donald Trump turned over to him. It's Trump's fault. Again, but that is one paragraph. The rest of the article goes into great detail on the infighting on Biden's staff, who apparently is treating this as a hot potato. Nobody wants to touch it. Certainly nobody wants to take responsibility for the disaster that's been unfolding. Kamala Harris, who was supposed to be the border czar, says, my responsibility begins and ends with the root causes in Honduras and Guatemala. I have nothing to do with... And then there's the infighting, where advisor Susan Rice, who apparently is still angry at being passed over for Harris for the vice president's slot. Apparently she blames Harris's team for the opposition research that convinced Biden to select Harris instead of Rice as his vice president. Rice is not very happy, seems to take pride in showing herself to be more competent and informed than the vice president, whereas Harris's team just dismisses Rice as a staffer. Politics is a blood sport, but sadly, while the Biden team is busy pointing fingers, casting blame, and throwing one another under the bus, 9 million, 11 million people illegally have crossed into the United States. This is not a good situation. But the bigger story here, is it true? And second question, who benefits if we believe it? This is the media. Bear in mind, Axios is owned by Cox Enterprises. Cox is the big cable company, so a major player in the media. This is the deep state throwing Joe Biden under the bus. I honestly do not think President Biden will be on the ballot come November. Topic number 2, watch your kids. The FBI now warning families about the rise of online sextortion. We've talked about this in the past, where kids are conned or lured into sharing intimate photos with what they think are other kids, but turn out to be gangs of kids who are extortionists in other parts of the world, Southeast Asia, West Africa, who then use these embarrassing photos to demand money. And now artificial intelligence is being used to create fake images pulled from kids' social media accounts. Financial extortion, usually in the form of gift cards or digital currency, Bitcoin and so forth. Victims tend to be actually teenage boys, which is contrary to what you might think. This is actually leading to a spike in suicide among teen boys who are too ashamed to admit that they've been conned. Again, this is really being conducted mainly by criminal rings outside the U.S., Southeast Asia, West Africa predominantly. And again, artificial intelligence now being used to manipulate photos. The bottom line here is be aware of what your kids are doing online. Be aware, kids, that anyone can pretend to be anyone online just because it appears to be a 14-year-old girl who says she really, really likes you. Might be some 30-year-old guy in Nigeria. And parents, grandparents, please encourage children to come to you if they suspect behavior online. Don't let their shame lead to self-harm. Coming up, stunning and brave students at Harvard stage a 12-hour hunger strike. 12 whole hours. That and how you can save $10 on Skywatch TV's next virtual conference straight ahead on 5 and 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make you aware of an opportunity to get 3 DVDs right now in the brand new Silent Pandemic Collection. Now, this collection includes 3 DVDs. So let's back up just for a second. First, you're going to receive the brand new DVD, Viral Defense, evidence-based methodology for optimizing your immunity against COVID-19, long COVID, spike proteins, and future viral outbreaks, along with the new DVD, Fight Back Against Alzheimer's, Dementia, MCI, and Cognitive Decline. But you're also going to receive the over 5-hour DVD, My Classic Time Bomb, which features off-the-record interviews with professionals in healthcare, Dr. Matthew Sams, Dr. Ralph Umbriaco, Dr. Josh Vance, and contains the original interview with my father from a couple of years ago, where he actually talked about how he reversed his type 2 diabetes with natural supplementation and change to lifestyle. All 3 of these DVDs actually total almost 10 hours for those interested in improving their gut health, their overall immunity, learning how to watch labels and how to better navigate grocery stores, what is going on with spike proteins and shed spike protein residues, all of this anomalistic stuff that's happening out there in the stratosphere. But if you're one who does not have a DVD player, this is something I've learned over the last year or so. There's a lot of people migrating away from DVD. So Skywatch TV is also going to take this occasion to let you know that moving forward, as often as we can, which hopefully is each time we have a guest with a DVD or we put one out ourselves, we're also going to ask you to go to skywatchtv.com/stream for the streaming options. Now, this will get you out of having to pay for shipping. If you're a person who doesn't want the DVD sitting on a shelf somewhere, you're not a collector, you don't need the physical copy, but you want to see the content. So if you want the DVD copies of all 3 of these right now while supplies last, you can get the Silent Pandemic Collection in physical copy for your donation of $35 plus shipping and handling. But if you want to stream these, go to skywatchtv.com/stream. You will see a couple of different options. First, you can stream just Fight Back Against Alzheimer's for $15, or you can stream the Viral Defense DVD by itself for $20, or you can stream all 3, which total the 10 hours that I just mentioned on all of the above, for only $20 right now in a special Silent Pandemic bundle right now.
Sometimes the top story just writes itself. Item number 1 today, the stunning and brave students at Harvard University trying to show solidarity with their fellow students at Brown, who were trying to pressure the university there to divest from Israel, staged a 12-hour hunger strike Friday. 30 students at Harvard, 12 whole hours to pressure the Brown Corporation to divest from Israel. Mahatma Gandhi would be so proud. They skipped 1 whole meal to pressure Brown University to #Free Palestine. Well, the students had intended to strike until Brown decided on considered a resolution, that is, a resolution to divest from companies which profit from human rights abuses in Palestine. They ended the strike after Brown University's president, Christina Paxson, denied their request. She said no. Stunning and brave. Most of us will go 12 hours between meals, just, between bedtime and breakfast. Skywatch TV's next virtual conference, Countering the Darkness. It launches in just a couple of weeks, February 29th, but you've got through tomorrow, February 15th, to save $10 on the early bird discount. Normally $95, just $85 if you sign up through tomorrow at defenderconference.com. 24 cutting-edge presentations featuring Tom Horn's last presentation for Skywatch TV, recorded last fall before he became ill. This also will get you, as a bonus, absolutely free, 6 feature-length documentaries from Skywatch Films, including Ragnarok, Humanity's Last Stand. This is the documentary based on Tom Horn's Wormwood prophecy. That's just one of 6, including the Telly Award winners Inhuman, Next and Final Phase of Man is Here, and Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking. Take advantage of this. Great information, and you'll find out more and sign up through tomorrow. Save $10 at defenderconference.com. Long COVID, what is it and what are the spike proteins on that SARS-CoV-2 virus? That is the topic on Skywatch TV this week. Joe Artis-Horn putting together some great health information made available to you through DVD and streaming video from Skywatch TV's new streaming video site. You can watch the program right now, skywatchtv.com. It's also available at our Apple TV and Roku channels. On YouTube, you can catch it at the new channel for the main program. That's at Skywatch TV Now, rumble.com/Skywatch TV, or our free mobile app, which may be the best way of all because our mobile app bypasses the gatekeepers of big tech. They don't want information, certain types of information, getting out. And when you start talking about the SARS-CoV-2 virus, the gatekeepers start getting a little antsy. So, download it for iOS, Android, Amazon, Kindle Fire phones and tablets. If you've got a relatively recent smart TV, you can generally cast the video straight to your TV using Apple's AirPlay or Google's Chromecast as well. So you're not giving up the big screen if you have it on your mobile device. And we got links to their app stores at our website, skywatchtv.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.